Hello, ladies. Welcome to episode 24. And today I want to share with you a concept that just popped up in a client session yesterday. So I have a client and she is really right smack in the middle of her dating journey. She's meeting a lot of great guys and making decisions. So she's at that information decision making stage about all the guys that she's meeting. They are all really great prospects. So she's not having to deal with weirdos or creeps. That's not where she's at. We've kind of moved past that. And I've had to teach her to think at a higher level now that she's kind of cleared up her queue and her pipeline and she's got good guys, multiple ones, to raise her decision-making level or her decision-making process to really not settle, because not every nice guy is what you want. There are good people out there that you are going to want to say no to. A lot of women are at the level where they're dealing with so many weirdos and so many creeps, right? That just any nice guy. I just want one nice guy who's normal and decent and good. And then when you meet that one good, nice guy, you hold on for dear life, right? And then because you think, well, I ran across so many weirdos, this must be the only nice guy left on the market, so I need to take him and I need to take him home with me. And even all of that is still coming from a place of scarcity. It's still coming from a place of neediness, a place of fear that you're not going to find what you have. Once my clients get out of that early stage of the weirdos and all of the things you don't want to encounter while dating, I teach them to live in the abundance of the good men that are out there so they can make a true choice, not a choice out of scarcity. And as we were talking about this yesterday, I said, it's sort of like when you're hiring for a CEO position for your company, which she does own her own company, so it was perfect for her. Not every part of this analogy is going to translate, so just forgive me ahead of time. When you are hiring for, a customer service position, people have a certain way of doing that. Those positions, you see them advertised on Indeed or Monster or all of the online hiring sites, like customer service, positions that don't require a lot of skill, a position where you can just kind of train on the job. Those positions get thrown out on the internet. You can just go find those. They'll pay you $10 an hour, $15 an hour, right? And so that's the process for those jobs. But if you owned a company and you were hiring a CEO, the process looks very, very different. Most CEO positions never come out on any website. Some might, but overall, the CEO of Coca-Cola is not going to get hired off of Monster, not going to get hired off of Indeed, right? There's a higher level process that goes with selecting a CEO for a company like that. And like I said, not everything here translates, because this does not mean you cannot find a good person on a dating app. It's not about the specific place where you find the person. It's about how you are thinking about choosing the person that you eventually commit to. I would love for you to look at your life as a company that you own, right? Think of your body. Think of how precious it is. Think of the fact that whoever you choose is going to be all up in your grill at some point, right? Think of your money. Think of your children. Think of your dreams and your plans and your vision for the future. Just because a guy isn't a weirdo does not qualify him to be entrusted with participating in everything you have going on in your life. And so that's sort of the concept that I had given my client, because she has 3 or 4 guys that, she'd been thinking about, and, some would always drop off and things. But when you meet a guy who's nice, he's got a good job, he's interested in you, he comes and, takes you out, and you're communicating morning, afternoon, evening, that's amazing. that is amazing, but that is just the beginning of the process. What ends up happening with a lot of people is once they find that guy, they're like, oh, I'm done. I found the one because he's met this criteria here. Maybe not. When a company hires a CEO, it can take 6 months to a year, sometimes more, for that entire process from start to finish. C-suite positions don't get hired after a phone interview and an in-person interview. There is the process of finding the candidates, just talking to the candidates, them meeting the board of directors, them being interviewed, multiple interviews with multiple people. And even when they've narrowed down the selection, you have more interviews, more discussions, and then you go into negotiations. Now you're negotiating stock options, you're negotiating severance packages. There's so much that goes into it just because there's so much responsibility that goes into there's so much responsibility that they're going to be handling when all of this is over. When you are dating, I want you to think that long term about the people that you're with. You've been seeing a guy for a month. You've been seeing him for 2 months. Does that really qualify him to be the one? It might if you're not taking that long-term view. If you don't see all of yourself and your assets and everything that you have going on in your life as being precious. Now, this doesn't mean you don't date a guy or you don't commit to a guy. It's not really about the actions that you take. It's about the thinking behind it. A woman might go exclusive with a guy within 6 weeks or 8 weeks and be coming from a place of, well, I'm still in the selection process. And because of that, she would still be evaluating him. She would still be negotiating their possible future and using that time to build on that. Another woman could go exclusive within 6 or 8 weeks and have decided that she's found the one in those 6 weeks without further investigation, further questions, further negotiation or understanding of whether or not he is truly the one for her. So to that end, I've outlined 4 steps that I think will really help you date like a CEO. So the very first one I alluded to a little bit earlier, which is know your true value. I do self-esteem checks with my clients not because they're women who have quote unquote low self-esteem, but because the brain has a negativity bias. You guys have heard me talk about this so many times. You're probably going to hear me talk about it a lot more in the future because our brains really do have a negativity bias. We tend to recycle a lot of thoughts that are negative. We go through thoughts like, I'm never going to find the guy. I'm never going to meet the one. I should date because I'm getting old. I don't want to get hurt again. There's no one out there for me. It's taking too long. All of those thoughts come from a place where you're not really seeing your true value, where you're not having your own back. You're not sitting in your queendom, so to speak. You're not sitting in the belief that you have value just because of who you are. You don't have to actually do anything. You don't have to create anything or be productive or achieve anything to have value. And that is a process of really taking out all of that conditioning that we've been given, that our value is in all these external things. For many of us who went through divorce, you remember those moments where you just felt like everything was over. Like you forgot all about your value because your value had been so wrapped up in being married, in being a mom and being a wife and having the perfect picture and having that community. We extracted value from all of that. So when it went away, our self-esteem took a nosedive. I know my self-esteem took a nosedive. I know a lot of women who are divorced have experienced that nosedive in their self-esteem, even up to feeling shame. Like there's literally something wrong with you. You kind of feel it in your body. Like there's something wrong with you. A lot of cringing. That's how shame feels sometimes. A lot of cringing because the external value is gone. Knowing your true value when you are dating is being in the space where you've resolved that, where you realize, oh no, I'm special. I'm worthy of my time and my resources. I'm worthy of love. I'm worthy of my own attention. And whoever is my partner, I'm worthy of their attention. But not in like a chanty, positive poly kind of way where you're just like saying it, but deep down you don't feel it. This is a knowing that's deep down in your soul, where it's like you feel it in your bones. You've truly shifted your thoughts from that external value to truly understanding your intrinsic value. So that's step number one, is know your true value. This is work that I do with my clients because our brains sometimes will trick us because we're so high functioning. Sometimes we're really successful at work. We get things done. We're resilient, independent, right? But all of those are still external achievements. You could achieve all those things and somewhere inside you're not 100% sure about your true value. So it can be a process to get there. Know your true value is number one. Number two is to build the belief that there is someone out there for you. That one belief was literally what made my dating journey so short. Like I was on the market for a couple of years and that was it. I truly believed that there was someone on this planet for me and that I would find him. I had that belief. I truly believed it. I just knew. I was like, it's a big planet. There's 7 billion people. I can find someone. There's one person out there. I'll find him. So I realized that all I had to do was create a life where I met a lot of people and I went to all the places where people who had similar interests with me would be. And I just crafted this process where I did that and I found my husband. That belief made it so easy. It made dating so stressless. Like I didn't have all of those like late nights of like dating is so hard and this is awful. Not because I was superhuman, but just because I truly believed deep down inside that there was one person out there for me and I was going to find him. And everything else was just, just what it was. I didn't spend any time at all thinking about the guys who were sending weird pictures. I wasn't spending any time at all thinking about the weirdos and the guys and their behavior and those who criticized my product. I spent zero time thinking about those guys because I was like, oh, no. My one is out there. I know it. The numbers tell me so. So that belief fueled me on to create a dating process that accelerated my success. When a company is looking for their CEO, they're not sitting around thinking, well, who's going to want to be the CEO of PepsiCo? Who's going to want to be the CEO of Microsoft? They never think like that. Like they know everyone wants to be the CEO of that company. So when you look at yourself and your life, are you thinking, yeah, of course, look at all this. If you're not thinking that there's someone out there for you or that someone would want you, we have to do that work first. We have got to do that work first because otherwise your experience of dating is going to be so hard and so painful and likely not yield the results that you want. All right, so number 2 was build the belief that there's a person out there for you. Number 3 is don't look for a quick fix. No, our brains just want the quick fix. This is why we like sugar, right? This is why we like to eat carbs. It's because our brain just wants to feel that rush of energy. It wants to feel that dopamine hit. Do not look for a quick fix. You cannot hire a CEO the same way you hire for retail. It's not the same thing, not the same process. A fast food restaurant looking for someone to flip burgers does not hire the same way that a tech company is going to hire for their chief technology officer. You have to decide who you are. And I'm telling you right now, you are the tech company in this analogy. You are the tech company, all right? You are not the fast food restaurant. And then you have to realize that it's not going to be a quick fix. Like you need to learn that process. I literally, when I was working on this, I went on Google and I said, how do companies hire CEOs? And I was kind of looking for like things to match the analogy. The information is not out there. There were a few sites like that had interview questions, but this is a process that is not available to the masses, apparently. I was like, wow, I can't even find a book on this, because it's sort of like this such a high level process that people design their own process. Basically, companies design their own process. They probably bring in consultants to sit around and figure out what's going to fit their company. They do a lot of work on this. Do not go for a quick fix. You have to design a process that is unique to you, that meets all of your needs, that takes into account what your vision is for the future, that takes into account where you are, who's in your life, your likes, dislikes, your personal family culture. All of those things have to come into play when you choose someone. If you're just jumping on the app and hoping to swipe 50 times and find the one, it's not going to work. Do not look for a quick fix. Make it a quest, make it a journey. Get the resources that you need to help you on that journey so that you can be successful. All right, so that was number 3, don't look for a quick fix. And then finally, plan your decision-making process ahead of time. This step here is what my clients consistently tell me is one of the most useful parts of the Dating After Divorce Academy, because before they ever step out, we set their intention firmly. And their intention is not just who are they looking for. That's just one piece of it. Your ideal partner list is just one piece of it. We also work on their relationship gates, which is how they're going to move the relationship through like all of their checks to verify that this is the one. Relationship milestones, so that when they are in a committed relationship, they continue to nurture and grow that commitment and evaluate all the pieces that need to be in place to make their remarriage successful. That and other things are what goes into that decision-making process, right? You're talking about a process that from the time you meet the person to the time that you're walking down the altar, it could be anywhere from 6 months to a year. The Dating After Divorce Academy takes into consideration that whole journey, and we do all of that work up front so that you can then go out and have fun. No more of all of that confusion and worry. I don't know what I'm doing, getting confused along the way. Like when things start to happen, you're like, oh yeah, I thought about this. I already wrote down that I wanted to do this. Activities that you want to take your potential partner on so that you can observe certain things about their character. All of those are set ahead of time so that you can relax and know that the process that you are in will lead to success, keep you safe along the way, bring in logical and critical thinking, not just emotions. And the reason this is done, the reason we do this is because emotions do come in. You meet that guy, he's so fine, right? All reason goes out the door. But if you did the work and planned your decision-making process ahead of time, your reasoning will stay with you because you already created it. You already did it ahead of time. So you're actually free to enjoy the awesome emotions because you know that you've already created the gates and the structure that keeps you safe. All right. The steps to dating like a CEO. 1, know your true value. 2, build belief that there's a person out there for you. 3, don't look for a quick fix. And 4, plan your decision-making process ahead of time. Ladies, you are the prize. And because you are the prize, right, we need to figure out how we're going to make sure this process leads you to being valued and loved and nurtured and cherished, and that you are in a relationship where you feel safe, loved, and nurtured, and that lasts a lifetime. Thank you for your time and attention, and I will see you next time.